I was at the second debate in St. Louis last Sunday when Mark McKinnon, the former Republican strategist, spotted me. Next thing I knew, he had me in front of a camera for The Circus, his behind-the-scenes campaign chronicle that airs Sunday nights on Showtime. And I was asked about the just-released Access Hollywood tape of Donald Trump and Billy Bush that was dominating the coverage.
There's really no question this was a very disturbing and damaging tape for Donald Trump to come out from 2005. But in the last few days, it has not only been the dominant story of the campaign, it's been the dominant story of our lives. Everyone is talking about it. You cannot get away from it. It's on minute after minute after minute. Forget the hurricane, forget Hillary Clinton. I think there's some media overkill going on here.
We'll see if I make the cut. I spoke to McKinnon earlier from New York. Mark McKinnon, welcome.
Hey, Howie, how are you?
Doing great. As an old political message guy, what's the impact on a campaign like Trump's when you get hit boom, boom, boom with media stories about women saying he groped them, he kissed them when they didn't want to? How does a campaign get rocked like that?
Well, I mean, it's just like you're in a boxing ring. You just get hit with a flurry of punches, and, you know, you look around, you're on the canvas looking up. It's very tough. I mean, you know, I was remembering back to 2000, we got hit with a DWI just a few days out from the election, and that put us in crisis mode. But this campaign in the last week, as we talked about at the debate, never seen anything like it, nothing close. I mean, it's just one allegation, one revelation after another. You know, there's tapes and women on one side, emails on the other.
Right.
You know, usually a week would go by in a normal campaign. In this campaign, it's a matter of minutes where we see new news breaking.
Is it fair to question why some of these women came forward now to outlets like the New York Times and People magazine? Obviously, Trump is saying this is unfair and even coordinated.
Well, sure, it's a fair question, but I think that there are also, you know, it's fair to get the responses to that, and I think a lot of the women would say, or are saying, that you know, this is not something they're proud of, they're embarrassed by it, but that they were inspired to do this when Donald Trump went on television in the debate and said that no, he had never actually physically assaulted anybody, and they're sitting there watching that and saying, well, now wait a minute, I was.
But now that this is front and center,
that's their story, yeah.
Now that this is front and center, is it equally fair game for the media to dig and excavate the Bill Clinton sex scandals and some of his accusers from the 80s and 90s?
Well, I mean, anything's fair game that the campaign's put into play if it's relevant to the election, if it's relevant to the accusations. And, you know, we are clawing our way to the bottom here. It's, you know, who can provide the most salacious material. And unfortunately for the voters, it's diverting any attention away from anything close to policy. I mean, I think that, you know, what's going to happen now, you know, these allegations, are, you know, it gets sort of Cosby-like, which meaning that, you know, some women come out, which gives, you know, safety and comfort for others to come out. They feel like it's okay now because others have. So I suspect we'll see others come out. And then, as Donald Trump says, perhaps there'll be more women alleging Bill Clinton intersections, and
right.
Then we'll have, you know, WikiLeaks on the email. So I think it's pretty much sex and emails for the rest of the campaign.
Let's talk about The Circus. Has chronicling the campaign in real time, as you have been doing, changed your view of the media and the way they cover campaigns since you're now behind the camera?
It's been fascinating, Howie. As you know, I've been on the other end of the camera, but I've always thought that there were fascinating things going on in particularly presidential campaigns, behind the scenes, characters, drama, humor, pathos that the public never sees, including, by the way, not just the campaign behind the scenes, but the media behind the scenes. And we had a great show last week where we were behind the scenes at Fox with Megyn Kelly, showing just how stressful that is. And I've discovered that it's as stressful doing what you guys do as what we do in the campaign. So
I could have told you that. That's not a revelation to me. But
well,
when you worked for George W. Bush and John McCain, I'm sure you felt you weren't always getting a fair break from the media. Do you think now, looking at it from both sides, political operative and now a media guy yourself, that there is a decided marked liberal bias in the way the press covers these campaigns?
You know, I've always felt, Howie, that there is a bias toward conflict, that the press just gravitates toward conflict. But, you know, listen, I know not just, you know, I know anecdotally, but also from all the people that I've dealt with that, I don't know the number, 75% or more of the press are probably Democrats, and it's hard to, you know, it's hard to cover some inclination that you have. But you know, this is the big leagues, and Republicans know going in what, you know, we knew, George Bush knew that there was a bias against him, and we just dealt with that. I mean, you don't whine about it, you don't complain, you don't call the refs on it, you just go out there and put your best team on the field and give it your best shot.
A good philosophy for political campaigning. Mark McKinnon of the Circus, obviously having a good time. Thanks very much for joining us.